Welcome, familia, one more time to another edition of Check This Out. Still in the book of Philippians, however, we are in chapter 2 at this time. Question: what do you think about Jesus? Oh, if you're a Christian, if you've given your life to Jesus Christ, you'd automatically say, well, he's the Lord of my life. He's everything to me. Es todo. He's the one that has saved my life. He saved my marriage, perhaps. Saved my sanity. Saved my sanity. But what happens though? What if? Play this game with me for a second. What if somebody would have asked you that question before you became a Christian? What if somebody would have said to you, who is Jesus to you? I remember, boy, do I remember. I remember being in 7th or 8th grade, middle school, Las Vegas, Nevada. And I don't know why. I don't know why the teacher chose to ask me. Fidel. Oh, it was Easter. Fidel, what is Easter to you? I remember at first I thought he said, who's your sister? But that's not what the teacher said. What is Easter to you? To my embarrassment, honestly, I had to say, I don't know. I was raised in a good home. I was. Mom and dad, they loved me. They took care of me. They provided for me, but we were not Christians. Church was not a major part of our lives. We attended for Christmas and Easter, but I never absorbed the whole Christian principle of Easter being Jesus being crucified, buried, and on the third day rose again. I don't know why. I just didn't put that together. So I remember I said, I don't know. And you can imagine the other kids laughing. I remember that. But before you became a Christian, how would you have answered that question? Who is Jesus to you? Well, for some, I would imagine that the answer would have been, he died on the cross, but yet it wasn't personal to you. For others, perhaps, he was a great prophet, a great teacher, great moral teacher. But what about now, though? Let's move from the Christian perspective to that one person that might be listening to me right now. I don't know how you got onto this thread. I don't know, somebody invited you, somebody been hounding you, whatever. But you're listening to me, and I want to ask you, my friend, the one that has yet to give your life to Jesus. You're a good person, man. You really are. You try to live by the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I'm a good person. Who is Jesus to you? You might say the same thing even now. But he's not the Lord of your life. You might say, I believe in Jesus. I do. I think he did a lot of good things. But for you right now, life is busy. The thought of surrender to you means subjugation, and you don't like that. The thought to you of subjecting your life to somebody else, it just doesn't fit right. the thought of you giving your life over to somebody, it just doesn't sit right with you. You are at this point in your life trying to make it, trying to make ends meet, trying to keep your head above water. For the others of you, you've already made it. Man, you got the stuff. You do. There's nothing wrong with that. You got the top name brand of cars, clothes, shoes. You command a whole crew of people at work. You have a great reputation. You have a great deal of power. And so for you, the thought of needing Jesus, you go, I don't really feel I need anything. Well, I'm going to tell you something that is going to happen one day. One day. I don't know when. I'm not a prophet. I don't know when. But my dear friend, listen closely, please. Would you please lend me your ear for just the last couple of minutes that we're going to spend together? That here in the book of Philippians, in chapter 2, when the Apostle Paul has been talking about Jesus made himself nothing, he made himself a servant, he humbled himself and became obedient to death, even to death on a cross. Now listen to this, listen. Therefore, God exalted him, Jesus, to the highest place and gave him the name that is above every name. Watch now. That at the name of Jesus, every knee will bow. And every knee will bow in heaven and on earth and under the earth. And every tongue will acknowledge that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Did you catch that? No, you don't bow down to anybody, you say, and you stick your chest out and me bow down? Absolutely. I have people that bow down to me. My dear friend, listen carefully. There's going to be a day that you breathe your last breath. And hopefully, before you breathe your last breath, you are able to humble yourself before God, your Creator, the one that created you and had a plan for your life and gave you chance after chance after chance to turn to Him, to love Him, to submit yourself to Him, to walk with Him, and you rejected it. But hopefully before you breathe your last breath, you can cry out, Jesus, save me. I bow my knee to you. I confess with my mouth that you are Lord. Hopefully, you have the opportunity to do that before you breathe your last breath. But my friend, if you don't, if something should happen suddenly and you're not given that last opportunity, it will be at God's judgment seat. And I care enough for you to be this honest with you. There will be no religion in heaven. There will be no pastor, priest, minister, rabbi in heaven. It'll be you and God Himself. And He will say to you, what did you do with my son Jesus? Did you accept Him? Or did you reject Him? So my dear friend, keep this in mind. One day, your knee will bow to Jesus. One day, your tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. Please, I plead with you, let it be now while you are still alive, and not after the opportunities are over.